booktube, it's Allie, also known as Allie's Books and Creativity. Today we are finally doing the video of the month, which is Stories I Devoured in April of 2025. Since it's now, according to this recording, May 7th, and I was so busy I just didn't have time to record last week, like May 1st or May 2nd than I expected, because I just had a lot going on, and I was like, well, I'm not going to have time to record, so now I do. So, further ado, let's get started. According to my phone, the stories I devoured in the month of April, I devoured 27 stories, which is 1 and 2, 3. Let me recount that again because it's the books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. 6 books this month. So movie-wise, because I did movies, not TV shows, I devoured 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 movies. So 6 books and 21 movies make 27. And further ado, let's get down the list. The first story I devoured in April is Wisteria by Adeline Grace, which is the finale of the trilogy of Belladonna. Finally, I finished the trilogy. I was sad. I was very sad it ended, but happy there's a novella coming in the holiday season this year. So far, I know it's going to be the holiday season, unless it's delayed, because some books come on time, some get delayed. It happens. I was expecting book 2 of Sweet Nightmare by Tracy Wolff to come by this month, but now I'm waiting another year for it because more content of the franchise is coming, I believe. That's what she announced. Like she was working on a project on the side of that franchise, of the Crave franchise, which I'm really excited to find out what it is. And Wisteria was more based on, what's her name? Oh, Blythe. I think it's Blythe. Yeah, Blythe. This is based on Blythe's perspective, when Belladonna and Foxglove is based on Cigna's perspective. And it was really, really interesting. Like, I really liked Blythe's side of the story. And there were some problematics, but I wouldn't say I give it a low grade or a medium grade, because I really, 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 really enjoyed this. So I would say Wisteria got a 5-star. 5-star rating. Totally one of the best trilogies I've probably read in a long time. The second story I devoured in the month of April is 2017 film of Beauty and the Beast, starring Emma Watson. Emma Watson, that's right. I get Emma Watson and Emma Stone confused at first sometimes, but it's Emma Watson. And how could I get them confused when Emma Watson was Hermione Granger from Harry Potter back when I was a kid? So I don't know. Maybe because she was in her 20s when this movie came out, and she was a kid when Harry Potter came out, so that was when her stardom started. But okay, let's just focus on Beauty and the Beast. We're not focusing on Harry Potter today. So Beauty and the Beast it's my, how can I word it? It was my favorite Disney movie of all time when I was very little, and Belle is my favorite Disney princess. So it kind of follows the classic. There's some different aspects, which I'm not going to say if you haven't seen the movie. If you have Disney Plus, now's a good time to sit down and watch this. If I can give you the movie rating, I gave it a 4.75 stars. And it was really good. So highly recommend live action Beauty and the Beast 2017 from Disney. The next story I devoured in the month of April is if I can get my phone to work. The Parent Trap, starring Lindsay Lohan when she was just a child. It's crazy how she became this big star because of this movie. And she had a wide variety of Disney contract with Disney to do more movies with them. Oh my gosh, like, this brought back definite childhood memories. She was funny playing one of the characters and then the other character, which is the twin. So I felt like they had to do like separate taken film. Remember if you're a Sonic the Hedgehog movie fan, you know how Jim Carrey did the two Robotniks on different days. I feel like Lindsay Lohan had to do that with the twins. That's my guess. So, because I remember reading somewhere that Jim Carrey with the Robotniks had to do to do Ivo Robotnik and Joe Robotnik. He had to like film separate days, but I feel like Lindsay had to do that with this one. Okay, but we're not here to talk about the Sonic franchise and Jim Carrey. We're talking about The Parent Trap and Lindsay Lohan. This one got an instant 5-star. It's hilarious. Makes me laugh every time I watch. It's like it was something I would have pulled as a kid if for like being a whole Slytherin from Harry Potter thing, but yeah, you know what I mean. But other than that, it's pretty hilarious. It was like they did pranks, but for a good deed. All right, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is the Batman 2022 version starring Robert Pattinson, who starred in Twilight as Edward. And excuse me. And I really loved this movie. I originally saw it in the theater back in 2022. And I love Batman. I'm a Batman girl. I think I have a Batman shirt somewhere, or I did, and I just need it's either I do or I did and something happened to it and I just need to replace it eventually. But right now I'm slowly doing I'm almost done with my spring clean, and then I'll decide what I need. All right, other than that, the Batman. This is basically like Batman's like backstory, almost, kind of. It had so many crime fighting, in my opinion. How Batman's kind of like that vigilante where he was like misunderstood. But I'm not going to go further detail. You have to see it. And according to my list, I can't memorize the rating. I gave it a 5-star. 5. Because I really liked that Batman movie. Some may not like it, some may like it, but I liked it. So that's just my opinion. So we're just going from my perspective, my ratings. You guys can do your own ratings later. In the meantime, that's my rating for the Batman 2022 version. 5-star. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Cruella, starring Emma Stone. So this was the one I saw today. Not today. I mean, this is the one I saw last month with Emma Stone, and it was Cruella. I gave this a 4-star rating. It's good, but there were some parts I was like, in the beginning, I think it was like the beginning of the movie, I was about to fall asleep, but then it got really good. So other than that, would I recommend Cruella by Emma Stone? I would say yeah, but it basically talks about Cruella de Vil's backstory and before how she became Cruella de Vil. And that's what I'm going to leave it as, and I think you guys will really like it if you are into Disney. So other than that, we can move on from this one and say it's a 4-star rating and go to the next story I devoured. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Twilight, starring Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner. I really love this franchise. I read the whole books. I've watched the movies many times, but would I prefer the movie or the book? I prefer the book, The movies are good, don't get me wrong, but I was more like into the books than into the more into the books than I was with the movies. So my rating for Twilight was 4.5 stars. So I don't need to go in further with Twilight because I felt like in my past videos I've talked about Twilight this, Twilight that, Edward this, Edward that, or Bella this, Bella that, Jacob this, Jacob that. So I feel like I'm gonna sound like a broken record, and probably for this video too. So yeah, we'll just move on to the next one. The next story I devoured in the month of April was Twilight New Moon. This one is the sequel to the first Twilight, but I'm not going into further detail like I said. So I'm going to just give you the rating. Twilight New Moon got 4.75 stars. And I don't want to give my opinion again because I feel like I think I've talked about Twilight before many times. And like I said, no broken records right now. And I'm already sounding like one of watching it all over again. All right, moving on. The next story I devoured was Twilight Eclipse. This one is the third movie and book in the Twilight saga. And I highly liked this one more than the first and second. I'm going to leave it as that. And the rating was 5 stars. 5 stars. Like 1,000,000% probably Eclipse has always been my favorite. Other than that, I'm going to move on and go to the next story. The next story I devoured is Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1. This is movie 4 and book 4 in the Twilight series. It's like part of the book, part of the first book. And I would say my rating, if I can look it up, it is 4 stars. Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 got 4 stars. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. And this is the second part of the 4th book, but it's the 5th movie. So if I can find the rating, I gave it a 4.5 stars. And that's all you're getting from that. I'm not spoiling anything. If you haven't seen Twilight or read it, you have to read it and you have to watch it if you want to know. I talked to my previous videos. If you're curious, I think I've talked to my previous videos. And if you're curious to find out, go through my video history. I'm not sure. It's been a while. But other than that, it should be my video history about my obsession of Twilight. Other than that, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is My Best Friend's Wedding, starring Julia Roberts and Cameron Diaz. This came out when I was very, very little. I was like, it came out in the 90s, and it's just crazy how far movies have come and how the graphics and stuff have come. And I would say with this one, my rating was 5 stars because I like the humor. I like the plot in the movie. It's like there was so much scandalous stuff going on between the characters, and it was really interesting. But I really feel like a lot of kids today don't know what this movie is and don't know a lot of Julia Roberts movies. And this was one of the first few Cameron Diaz was in when she was like in her early 20s. So I really recommend. I really just recommend this. I'm not going to tell you to watch it, but I recommend if you haven't seen My Best Friend's Wedding, definitely watch it. I watched it on my streaming account my Vudu streaming account, which means I own it. I bought it a while back, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen this for a while. Let me just watch it again. And I watched it, and I was like, it's still good the last time I saw it. So yeah. All right, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This was on my e-reader through Libby, and according to my notes, I gave Wildfire by Hannah Grace a 4-star rating. So Wildfire was really good. It's the sequel to Icebreaker. I'm right now reading the 3rd book, Daydream, right now. So if you heard that and you've read Daydream, no spoilers. And also, I would highly recommend this trilogy, the Icebreaker trilogy by Hannah Grace. It's really, really, really good. It's definitely not for teens. And definitely not for teens, not for kids. It's my advice is you can read it after high school. After high school and you're in college. That's just my recommendation. In the meantime, it's a 4-star rating, and we're gonna continue to the next story I devoured for the month of April. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Wonder Woman by starring Gal Gadot. I don't know how you say her last name, but I know her name's like Gal. That's what she goes by, her celebrity name. I don't know if it's her full name, but she did an amazing job as Wonder Woman. This came out in 2017, and I really love this Wonder Woman movie. I highly recommend it. I was going to see Wonder Woman 1984, then someone on Threads had the nerve to spoil it. Ugh. You know how many times I say, no spoilers. And when you spoil something to me, I don't interact with you. I just look at you, at what you say, and say, seriously? What part of no spoiler do you not get? All right, that's the end of my vent. We're gonna rate Wonder Woman. The rating is 4.75 stars. It was really good. Highly recommend this one. All right, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is The Fountain of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I really liked, she went abroad on her studying of historical fiction in this book. The Fountain of Silence is based on the whole Spanish culture back in the day. I'm not going to go in the, how can I word? I'll read to you the synopsis, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to go into detail. I have my rating even right here when I was out and about, and I had no, because I turned off my 5G on my phone to save bills and stuff, to save my money and stuff. But I wrote a little review here before I could go home and write it down on my Goodreads and my Fable, you name it. So this is Madrid, 1957. Under the oppressive dictatorship of General Francisco Franco, Spain is hiding a dark secret. Meanwhile, tourists and foreign businessmen flood in Spain under the welcoming promise of sunshine and wine. Among them is 18-year-old Daniel Matheson, the son of an oil tycoon who arrives in Madrid with his parents, hoping to connect with the country of his mother's birth through the lens of his camera. Photography and fate introduce him to Ana, whose family's interweaving obstacle reveal the lingering grasp of the Spanish Civil War, as well as chilling definitions of fortune and fear. Daniel's photographs leave him with uncomfortable questions amidst shadows of danger. He is backed into a corner of difficult decisions to protect those he loves. Lives and hearts collide, revealing an incredibly dark side to the sunny Spanish city. Master storyteller Ruta Sepetys once again shines light into one of history's darkest corners in this epic, heart-wrenching novel about identity, unforgettable love, repercussion of war, and the hidden violence of silence inspired by the true post-war struggle of Spain. It includes vintage media reports, oral history, commentary, and photos and more. That's right, because in the back, you see the photos of, like, what it was like back in the day. and it was really interesting. It was amazing, like how she did. The reason why I gave it the 4.75 was it started off very slow, which is the part I didn't like, because I'm like I just like a book that makes me go, bam, I'm in. But it was started off slow, but the pro of it was the historical fiction research was great. The writing was phenomenal. The characters she wrote from the historical fiction part, they were easy to fall in love with. It was like amazing. So other than that, 4.75 stars in my book. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Barbie, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. I like this one. I like the comedy. So I gave this rating a 4.25 stars. It was on Max. Was it on Max? No, I didn't watch it on Max. I actually watched it on Amazon Prime. That's where I watched it, because my family and we bought it a long time ago. So, no, it was 2 years ago we bought it, almost 2 years ago. And I remember first seeing the movie in theaters in July of that year. So, it's one of the movies I liked that year. And I would say if you are a Barbie fan and you like comedy, watch Barbie. It's on Max if you have Max. If not, Amazon Prime's got it. Vudu's got it's not Vudu anymore, actually. It's called Fandango at Home. It was called Vudu back in the day. I don't know why in the video earlier I called it Vudu, because I think I'm so used to calling it Vudu. Now it's called Fandango at Home. So Fandango at Home has it. Whatever you guys want to do if you want to watch Barbie. All right, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Aquamarine, starring Sarah Paxton, Emma Roberts, and JoJo, the singer JoJo. If you don't know who singer JoJo is, you're too young for me, okay? So, Aquamarine came out when I was in middle school. I was in 6th grade, and I didn't get to see it till probably like I was 13, where I was a little older, because it was just protection and stuff. But oh my gosh, it's such a good movie. I gave it a 4.75 stars. So it's about these two girls. One's moving away out of the country, and they don't want to be separated, and out of nowhere this mermaid named Aquamarine pops up, and a lot of crazy things happen. I'm not going to go into detail. You have to watch it. I watched this on the Fandango at Home app, and this is really, really, really good. So please, if you're a chick flick fan, a girl that's a chick flick fan, look into Aquamarine. I highly recommend it, and I know it's going to be a favorite of yours. Trust me. All right, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo vs. Mew, which is also Mewtwo Strikes Back. And I really remember when this came out when I was like 5-6 years old. How old was I when this came out? I'm gonna ask Siri, hold on. When did Pokemon the first movie first released in theaters? Yes, I was 6 years old when I just turned 6. And I was just getting the Pokemon when this movie came out. And I remember it was a good movie. This was the movie, and also the cartoon Pokemon Indigo League got me into Pokemon. I gave this a 4.5 stars, and I watched it on my library streaming app called Hoopla on my iPad / tablet. And it was just like bringing back childhood memories. Okay, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Pokemon 2000, The Power of One. This one, what rating did I give it? I gave it a 4 star. It was really good knowing all the Pokemon like Lugia, Moltres, Zapdos, Articuno, and they were the and it's just all that stuff about the keys of the sea. And I'm not going to go into further detail, but you have to, if you don't know what Pokemon is, you're definitely living under a rock, or you're just not a fan of anime and you're talking to the wrong gal here, because this gal is big on anime. So yeah, this is a 4-star rating, and it was really good. I don't have problematics. I think it felt slow watching this, but it was good. That's all I'm going to say. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Pokemon the Third Movie, which is also known... my phone started to act weird. Which is also known as the Spell of the Unknown. And I gave this a 4-star rating. I think it's just because some scenes don't always impress me in this one, but I do like Entei. I like Entei. He's cool. He's a cool Pokemon of the home of the lava, but it's mostly like crystallization and imagination from the unknown Pokemon called the Unknown. But I'm not gonna go into further detail. You have to watch it. 4-star rating. And yes, I did a Pokemon binge on Hoopla, and it was fun. And it was right around Easter weekend. So now, next topic. The next story I devoured in the month of April is The Getaway List by Emma Lord. I listened to the Getaway List on Audible, and I can just tell you, I liked the romance in it, but throughout the story, it was just okay, and I was mostly confused. So I know it wasn't a sequel or anything. I checked, but I was so confused. Like, I love a lot of Emma Lord's books, but this one of them did not make the 4 or 5-star rating. It made a 3.5 as just okay, but at the same time, I was confused most of the time. So that's the rating for The Getaway List by Emma Lord. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Sky High, starring Kurt Russell and what was her name? She passed on almost 5 years ago. Kelly Preston. Oh man. This brought childhood memories. This came out when I was like leaving 5th grade, but I didn't see it till I was finishing 6th grade in middle school, and I liked it back in the day, and it was a 5-star. Now it's a 4-star because I think I've seen it so many times. I'm like, okay, I already know what happens. I just want something outside the box. That's a Disney movie that's going to be really, 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 really good. And and I hope it's not going to be remade, because I feel like Sky High had its own justice. Like, does it deserve a higher rating justice if it didn't get one? Which I don't know if it did or not. If it didn't get a high rating, it deserves a high rating justice, yes, but I feel like it's just good enough to not be a sequel or anything. That's just my opinion. But yeah, 4-star rating. The next story I devoured in the month of April is OK Cupid by Mason Deaver. I read this through my e-reader on through the Libby app, and I thought it was just okay. I had no complaints. I think what threw me off was just how bland the story was. It was just too bland. But other than that, it was just okay. Which is probably why it's called OK Cupid. I don't know. But I gave the rating 3 stars. It's a 3-star rating book, and that's okay. That's just my opinion. Okay, moving on. The next story I devoured in the month of April is 50 First Dates, starring Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. It was my first time seeing it because I wanted to see it like back in the 2010s when I heard about it. And it came out before then, but I wanted to see it when I was like in my early in the like 2013, 2014. I didn't get to see it till this year when Netflix got the contract on it, and I finally watched it and I loved it. I know it has mixed ratings and people are gonna say something on the comments probably about this if they do. If they do, it's okay, let them have their opinion, but my opinion is it's a 5 star. It was really good. It was a really good movie to watch with the family. And I highly recommend this movie if you're a chick flick fan. If you like it, amazing. If you don't, that's okay, but I really loved it. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Night of the Witch by Sarah Rush and Beth Revis. I don't know how to say their last names. I tried so many times and flunked at it. I gave this rating a 4.25 stars. I liked it, and I thought it would have been a 5 star, but the reason why it wasn't a 5 star, there were some trigger warnings that I had to put the book down a few times because there were some triggers I was just like, okay, I can't read this now. This is too much, and I had to put the book down. But it had historical fiction. It was the historical fiction of the Germany witch trials before they traveled to like what was it, to New England, and then eventually became the Salem witch trials in the future, in the future after Germany. And I don't have book 2. I'm thinking about renting it from the library, so please, 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 please do not spoil book 2. Okay, this is my warning. You spoil book 2, I will block you. I don't do spoilers. That's a #1 rule in this YouTube channel. Period. All right, 4.25 star. Good read, but some trigger warnings. So if you want to read this, just heads up, there is trigger warnings. It gives you a heads up too. It has at the beginning of the book, which is nice. It's like, see what page it's on. Oh, it's before you reach chapter 1, and it's after the dedication. So that's where you'll read the content warning. You'll have to take precaution, just what I'm going to say. But other than that, it's a good book. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Wonka, which is the prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which back then was starred as Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. I remember watching that in school and my mom introducing the movie to me. But other than that, not a lot of people know the whole Wonka franchise because I felt like we were introduced because the teachers were introduced to it as a kid. And I gave this a 4.5 stars, so 4.5. So I really liked it, surprisingly. It was nice. I enjoyed it. And yeah, it was on Max, and if you have Max, watch Wonka if you are a Wonka fan. Highly recommend it. 2 more topics to go, 2 more. The next story I devoured in the month of April is Descendants. I gave this a 4 star. It had, what's her name? Dove Cameron Boyce, R.I.P. Cameron Boyce, and Boo Boo Stewart. And it's the villains. It's basically like the story of it's like a story of the villains as children and the fairy tales children going to the boarding school called Oradon Prep. And it's really interesting. So I gave it a 4 star rating, and yeah, it was on Disney Plus, and look into it. The last story I devoured in the month of April is Descendants 2. So this one had a like expansion to the villains. It had Ursula's daughter, Captain Hook's son, and Gaston's son. And this one, Descendants 2, I gave a rating of 4.25 stars. So it was good. I actually liked Descendants 2 a little better than Descendants 1. So yeah, that's my opinion. And that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed all the 26 stories not 20, I think it's 26 or 27. I don't remember. It's been a long day. So I hope you enjoyed the 26, 27 stories I shared with you that I devoured in the month of April, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.